Listen up, bowlers. Are you looking to gain the mental edge over your competition? Do you ever need that extra burst of all-natural energy during league play? MindFrame is the first all-natural supplement packed with vitamins and all-natural ingredients to keep bowlers at the top of their game. Supports muscle recovery and joint support for the day after that long tournament. You cannot continue to neglect your most important tool, your body, if you want to win. Experience the striking power of MindFrame. Visit s3direct.com. That's s3direct.com. Above180.com, taking your bowling game to the next level. Tim Berg and Joey Serrar are ready to hit the lanes, approaching the issues that you, the bowler, want to know. From the latest equipment reviews and coaching to drilling layouts. Now, from Washington, D.C. and the Bowlers Pro Shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, here are your hosts, Tim Berg and Joey Serrar.
Joining us on the Above180.com podcast is Eric Pierson. Eric, Tim Berg, and Joey Serrar here. And our first question, Eric, for you that I have is what exactly is your role with the USBC and what are some of the responsibilities that you have?
My official title is tournament manager of the USBC Women's Championships. So I follow and I'm in charge of all the operational components and the staff and the budgeting for basically the women's national tournament. Along with that, I have a couple other responsibilities. I manage the Queens event, the Senior Queens, and also just wrapped up managing the Masters tournament last month. There's been some staffing changes at USBC the last couple of years, and some of those responsibilities of the people who have left got divvied up, and some were thrown my way. And then along with that, for many years, I've worked at the Open Championships, and I've always been part of the lane maintenance procedures at the tournaments. So I'm still involved in setting up lane conditions at all of those major events, the Open, the Women's, Masters, Queens. I'm involved in all those events as well for the lane maintenance part.
Okay, so talking about the Open Championships in Reno this year, what can you tell us about the procedure? In other words, how far in advance of the tournament do you start setting up the pattern, and exactly how do you set up the pattern?
Well, normally what happens when we're at the Open Championships, and it's what we're going to experience this year here at the Women's, is when we construct the bowling venue inside of a convention center, we're pretty much at the mercy of the construction process. And when that finally gets wrapped up and we have access to bowling lanes and pin setters functioning, that's when we go ahead and we bring in a couple people from our lane maintenance crew, myself, and we always have a Kegel representative because they are the official provider for us for all of our lane machines, our oil. So we normally get a team of 3 or 4 people together after a construction process, and we start with an initial pattern, usually the pattern we used the year before, and we just go through a process of, seeing how much the lanes are hooking, kind of comparing, what the lanes did the year before, and then making the necessary adjustments for what we're shooting for. As far as the lane pattern is concerned. This year, what happened is we were at the bowling stadium in Reno, and there is no construction process, and we decided to go ahead and do a bunch of work all in the same week, and in preparation for the Masters, we also tested the Open Championships pattern, and we also went over to Grand Sierra and worked on the Bowler's Journal pattern. So we knocked all that off within a 2-week period. But we decided not to release the pattern until just this last week because that is the norm. We didn't want to set a precedent that the bowlers were going to see the lane condition a month in advance because next year in Baton Rouge that will not be the case. So we tried to stay standard and just submit the pattern out to the public roughly a week before the tournament actually starts.
Great. Again, Eric Pierson joining us from the USBC. And Eric, one of the questions that we've been receiving via Twitter is why is the pattern released so late for people that are just starting bowling as the tournament kicks off here very shortly? And some people feel that they're kind of at a disadvantage to not being able to practice on the tournament condition like others who go in May and June or even April.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I guess a couple points about there. Number one, and next year in Baton Rouge, like I just said, the lanes won't even be constructed until a few days before the event starts. So we don't even get a lane machine going down the lane until roughly 4 days before the event. So to be able to, throw a pattern out there for people to look on, it would not be the final pattern anyway. Because that decision is made very late in the game. As far as being at a disadvantage, I think anybody that thinks they're gonna take the lane condition that we post on the website and throw it in their lane machine at their home bowling center, and they're gonna get the exact playability of the lane condition is, they're not taking into account all the different factors that play out in ball motion. And I usually recommend to people just use last year's pattern until we get, this year's pattern in the machine. It's better to practice on something that's close or something that's, definitely harder than what you're used to seeing at your home center, whether or not the pattern is exactly, what we're going to use when you come to the tournament. You're never going to see exact conditions anyway. So I don't know if it's really a disadvantage or not. I think that's more of a mindset than it is a true fact.
Right. I think you're right there, Eric, where bowlers want to, even in the back of their mind, think they're bowling on the ABC pattern. Oh, there I go. I knew I was going to do it, but we'll call it the open pattern. But just to get a feel of keeping your shoulders maybe a little more square to your target, I think is all bowlers want, and realize there's no 3-4 board miss area to the right, and getting into the nuts and bolts of the pattern. I know there's a fine balance between a challenging condition and a high-scoring condition. You try and reach that balance, and I think it's been done perfectly over the last probably 10 or 15 years. What exactly do you try and create when you're creating a tournament-type pattern? I mean, you want equity on both sides, I'm sure, but are you trying to look for a pattern that bowlers have to migrate consistently inward, or they can play multiple angles, or what exactly are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, I guess, our standard line is always, we want to make them, challenging and fair and blah, blah, blah. But I guess two main goals are, keep it within sport. We have parameters that we have to follow. We have to stay within a 3-to-1 ratio. So we have them sport complying as number one. Number two, challenging, where you got to make good shots. And number three is probably the most key, is that, we need to have enough oil on the lane to last for a lot of games. That morning, we have 3 doubles and single squads. By the time they're done, and we oil for the team event at 2 o'clock, that's 36 games of bowling on a lane. That's quite a bit. It's a lot more than what people are used to. So our goal is to have enough oil on the lane where we can at least get the lanes to hold up for that complete morning session without having so much on the lane in the wrong places that, the majority of our bowlers that come, we don't want them throwing the ball down the lane and taking out 3 on the right when they miss by a board or 2. So, we're looking for good ball reaction. Definitely ball reaction from multiple angles, trying to take into account the grand spectrum of bowlers that we have that come. I mean, we're going to have, 60, 70,000 bowlers come to Reno again, and, we want those bowlers to get on the lanes and feel like when they make a good shot, they hit the pocket and hopefully strike. And it's a real fine line of too easy, too hard, too this, too that. One of the things we like to do when we're testing the pattern, we kind of lay it out on the lanes, and we tend to invite local bowlers to come in either for a practice session. We ran a couple sweepers. We ran a win a spot for the Masters tournament. And, hopefully we get a bunch of decent bowlers, some tournament bowlers that come in. And, we'll actually watch them throw balls down the lane, especially if they're in competition, bowling for money. They're trying. So it gives us an opportunity to see different styles of bowlers playing different angles on the lanes, and that helps us justify that what we're shooting for is actually out on the lane. So we spend 2-3 days with having bowlers come in and throw balls. It's not just a bunch of staff members out there making the decision of whether or not we like the ball reaction by the way they're bowling. It's watching numerous players come in and play on the lanes within a competitive atmosphere, and that really helps us finalize what we want to accomplish with the lane condition at the tournament. It's too easy for bowlers to generalize, what the pattern is, when if you were to survey all the people, you'd get tons of different answers of what they really see on the lane. So, our goal, good ball reaction from a few different angles, and definitely enough volume of oil on the lane in the right places so that, the lanes hold up, and it kind of goes through that natural progression of starting fresh and breaking down and changing throughout the day without just getting absolutely, blown up where, people really aren't playing the game that they're used to playing at home.
So Eric,
those are the goals. Not saying we hit it every year, but I think we do a pretty good job of getting it close.
Eric, let's talk about this year's pattern, and it is 1 foot longer, I do believe. And can you talk about some of the changes that you felt were needed from this year at Reno to last year at Reno, because the venue did not change? So was there ever that thought of just leaving out the same pattern last year, saying we liked the scoring, it was medium paced, and we kind of got what we felt we needed out of the scoring aspect of things? Do we really need to change a whole lot?
Yeah, exactly. I think when we look overall at the tournament the last few years, we've been very happy with the results we've had. Las Vegas was, a phenomenal year. We had some records broken. I think a big portion of that, which maybe most people wouldn't see, is the fact that, we have very tight standards on how we install the lanes, and the fact that everything was brand new and tight and level, and everything was really good. I think that helped to contribute to scores. So we kind of had the mindset, well, we're going to go back and we're going to take a similar pattern or similar ball motion and try to accomplish that at the stadium last year. And again, we had very good scores there, a little bit more in check, but really good results, really good scores. And we thought going back, we'd kind of like to stay within that range, but yet we also kind of want them to feel a little bit different because we're going back to the same building, and that was our main challenge. Is you tend to normal to fine tune a lane condition for the surface that you're on. When you go into a bowling center, one of your jobs is to alter the oil to get the necessary ball reaction you want for the bowling center you're in. Well, by us going back to the same bowling center, we want to have similar ball reactions, so therefore we probably should have put out the same pattern, but we wanted to task ourselves of making it feel a little bit different. I can see where there might be perceptions of same building, same lane conditions, same winners, and we definitely don't want that, and we just wanted to change it up a little bit. So obviously changing it a foot is the easiest way to change the lane condition, change the length of the pattern. But along with that, we made some other changes within the pattern with some load structure and the way we taper the oil slightly that we think where we've kind of, gotten a similar ball reaction as the year before, just kind of doing it a slightly different way. And just by making those 2 or 3 simple little changes, we feel that the lanes will definitely play, different than last year, or they'll feel slightly different, but I wouldn't doubt if a majority of the people felt that they're gonna feel like they're bowling last year, but maybe they're a board tighter or hooking a board more, or everybody's got a new ball, so they're hooking more just because they got a new ball. So there's lots of factors that go into why what people think they're feeling when they're bowling out on the lanes, but again, very similar to last year with a couple minor changes, and definitely want to see the results we've seen in the past couple of years. And I guess one of the biggest things is it seems like no matter what we do with the condition, our tournament average almost plays out the same every year. It's within a pin or two of from year to year, pretty much no matter what we do. It's just that maybe the higher scores tend to change, I guess, a little bit is the easiest way to explain it. So.